We're going to take a little bit of what we did in the last lesson and we're going to extend that out to include an FCoE multi-hop configuration. We're going to keep the configuration that we had on the Nexus 5548A, which is using VFC 400 as an F port or a VF port in FCoE to connect to a server. We're then going to link the Nexus 5548B to Nexus 5548A over Ethernet 125, and we're going to allow our VLAN 400 over that link and create two new VFCs, VFC 10, which are going to be E-ports or virtual E-ports on those switches. FCoE has to be configured on a hop-by-hop basis. That's why we're configuring the F port between the host and the switch, and we're going to have to configure two E-ports, one on each switch, so that those virtual E-ports can come up and talk the fiber channel over Ethernet protocol. Now, in regards to the rest of the drawing, physically the Nexus 5548B has a fiber channel link to the MDS 9216, which also has another fiber channel link to the storage. The fiber channel links between the two switches, again, would be E-ports, and the fiber channel link between the storage would be an F port on the switch side and an N port on the storage side. Now, in order to configure this, we're going to have to utilize some of the steps that we used in the previous lesson. We're going to leave that virtual F port up for the host, and then we're going to create a trunk between the 5Ks, which I've already done on ports 1/25, and then we're going to allow the FCoE VLAN that we've already created on that trunk port. We're then going to create a VFC 10 on both 5Ks and configure those as a VE port. We're going to bind that VFC to Ethernet 1/25 and to vSAN 400, and then we're going to make sure that it's in vSAN 400 is what I meant to say by bind. Finally, we're going to bring up the VFCs and we're going to take a look at those VFCs with show commands. Let's go to the switch. As I mentioned before, if I do a show run interface E1/25, I can see that my interface E125 is configured as a trunk, and right now it's allowing all VLANs because I haven't specified any particular VLAN, so it allows all of them. If I do show interface E1/25, I can see that the interface is up and it is running as a trunk. If I go to the other switch, say show run interface E1/25, I can see as well that switch port is a trunk. And if I show the interface, I can see that it's up as well. So the first thing that I want to do is go into the interface E1/25, and I'm going to allow switch port trunk allowed VLAN 400. I'm going to switch to the other switch and do the same thing. Interface E1/25, switch port trunk allowed VLAN 400. Now I'm going to exit out of here and I'm going to create my VFC, and I'm going to call it VFC 25 because it's on port 25. Now I'm going to create my VFC and I'm going to call it VFC 25 because it's on port 25. I'm going to bind this VFC to interface E1/25. I'm going to say switch port mode E because it's an E port, and then I'm going to exit. Next, I'm going to go into my vSAN database, and I'm going to go to vSAN 400, and I'm going to say vSAN 400 interface VFC 25. So now my VFC is in that vSAN, configured it as an E port, and I am ready to go. So now I'm going to go back into the VFC. I'm going to turn that on and do a no shut. I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. I'm going to exit out of Ethernet 125. I'm going to go to my interface VFC 25. I can make them the same because it's locally significant. I'm going to bind to Ethernet 1/25. So when that port comes up, this VFC will come up. I'm going to put it in the mode of an E or VE, as we call the FCoE modes. I'm going to exit out of here. I'm going to go into my vSAN database, vSAN 400, vSAN 400 interface VFC 25. I'm going to exit out of there. I'm going to go back into my interface VFC 25 and I'm going to no shut that. Now that I'm done with that, I exit out of that VFC interface. I did forget one thing. I forgot to go into FCoE vSAN 400. Once I do that, I exit out. I say show interface VFC 25, and now I can see that my point-to-point connection between my two VFCs that are running as virtual ePorts is up and running, and that the fiber channel connection is up, and that the trunk is supporting vSAN 400.